What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner. And we're here with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for tonight's single game showdown slate, Thursday Night Football, FanDuel, DraftKings, Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins. In this video, we'll talk about the injury news that you need to be up to speed on for tonight's slate, some lineup construction tips for low risk and high risk contests, and just some general strategies to help get you to the top of those leaderboards. So before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Just click subscribe right below the video. Get notified whenever we go live, upload any new videos. We're doing videos basically every single day during the NFL season. You don't want to miss those. Give us a thumbs up if you appreciate the showdown content and want to see more. If you have any questions about this slate, comment on the video below. Or the best way to get your question answered with in-depth thoughts, join our Discord server. Click join right below the video, occupyfantasy.com/discord. Chat with other like-minded people in the Occupy Fantasy community. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So, Ravens, Dolphins, a Lamar Jackson slate always adds an interesting wrinkle to a showdown contest. Lamar Jackson, $20,700 on DraftKings at the captain spot. On FanDuel, he is $17,500, $2,500 more than the next closest player. Just insane. Let's go back to DraftKings. The injury news for tonight that we need to talk about. Tua is questionable. I think he's more on the doubtful side of questionable. We'll know for sure this afternoon. Didn't play on Sunday with that fracture in his finger. Sounds like Brissett will get the start once again. But again, we need to monitor this throughout the day. Fortunately, their prices aren't too different that it will dramatically change our strategy for tonight. We just interchange those guys in our lineups. Latavius Murray is doubtful. He hasn't played the last couple of games. Devonta Freeman, Le'Veon Bell will carry the load for the Ravens backfield. Sammy Watkins, questionable, but I think he's going to return tonight. The word around the Ravens staff and their comments leading up to the game makes it seem like he'll play. He's missed the last couple of games with that thigh injury. He should slot back in, probably the wide receiver 3 behind Marquise Brown and Rashad Bateman. And I think that's it. Let's take a look down. Yeah, so Devontae Parker obviously still out. He's on injured reserve. I think we're good. The one guy who might return tonight is Nick Boyle. He is minimum price, and he was their number 2 tight end last year behind Mark Andrews. Played a ton of snaps, mostly the blocking type, but did get some targets. So let's monitor that. He could be activated off injured reserve today at minimum price. That could give us another value play. So if we're thinking low risk contest, 50-50s, double ups, head to heads, we like to start with this. If you've read our showdown guide, if you haven't, make sure you read it. It's in the description below. All of our back-tested research on showdown contests. For low-risk contests, we generally want to try to lock up all the scoring. And what does that mean? Playing both quarterbacks, both starting running backs, filling in with value from there. So tonight, everyone's going to play Lamar at captain. You just have to do it. You have to figure it out from there. And that's what makes DraftKings so difficult tonight for low-risk contests. So if we try to play both quarterbacks, both running backs, we assume Jacoby Brissett is getting the start. Myles Gaskin, the lead back with Malcolm Brown on injured reserve. And then Devonta Freeman has been getting more looks than Le'Veon Bell. He's the preferred option here. $17.50 per player, and you may be saying, Brian, how in the hell can we make a lineup with just $17.50 per player with 2 guys left? Fortunately, especially on the Miami side, there is some value tonight. So let's just go down. Let's go through this value, this sub 4K value, right? Okay, obviously we have the kicker and defense from the Dolphins. Let's look at guys 2K or lower. Durham Smythe, number 2 tight end, could see a couple targets. Certainly a reasonable play. Tyson Williams, we love how he started this season. Went in the doghouse a little bit, has come back. Didn't get a snap or touch in week 9. Maybe he gets a couple touches here, especially if the game's a little bit out of control in the second half in favor for the Ravens. So let's keep that in mind. Patrick Card may see a decline in his looks if Nick Boyle is back. But again, a fullback role, and he had a pretty ridiculous game last week, 12 points. Definitely a ceiling performance, but again, maybe sees a target. Savon Ahmed is probably one of the better plays down in this range. Going to see at least 20% of the snaps, maybe more depending on the game script. The number 2 running back for the Dolphins. And again, he's a nice floor play. 3-4 points you can pretty much reliably expect outside of last week's game against Houston. So Ahmed, definitely a great play, especially a floor play in low-risk contests. Shaheen, another tight end for the Dolphins who will see a target or 2. Albert Wilson should see a target or 2. Preston Williams is the interesting one here. He's missed the last couple of weeks, coaching decisions, minor injuries. Sounds like he'll be back tonight. And while he may not start, he could start. It's in the range of outcomes, but he should see some snaps and maybe up to 40 to 50% of the snaps based on how his playing time went earlier in the season. And at $200, that makes him one of the best overall values if he does play. Let's monitor it pregame inactives. We won't know until 6:50 p.m. Eastern. But Preston Williams could be one of the best values on the entire slate tonight. And I think that's it. Let me see here. A couple other guys maybe in this range that could get a touch or two. But those are the best plays for sure. And you could easily fit two of those guys in here. And now you have a low-risk lineup on DraftKings. It's actually much easier over on FanDuel, right? Generally, we know FanDuel makes it tougher to get both running backs, both quarterbacks. But because of the split backfield a bit in Baltimore, Gaskin hasn't done that well. We get lower prices on them. So if we get Lamar, Jacoby Brissett, and now we can scroll. We can scroll for running backs. We never get that. Myles Gaskin, Devonta Freeman, 7K left per player. That's a reasonable player. We can fill in with our favorite value from here. Definitely the best play to play FanDuel low risk lineups tonight. Half the MVP Lamar Jackson. Rare that we get this easy of a slate, and I think our bankroll allocation will be increased a little bit tonight on FanDuel in our daily plug because of this. Now, where it gets interesting, of course, is high risk contests. Our early projections have Lamar Jackson 35% at captain on DraftKings, some of the highest you'll ever see. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if he got higher than that once all the casuals start filing in and playing Lamar Jackson. 35+%. The highest we've ever seen was Kamara a couple weeks ago at 42%. Lamar could challenge that. On FanDuel, might set a record here. We have him projected for 72% at the MVP spot in tournaments. 72%. Just let that sink in. The crazy thing is, it's probably a good play, right? It's really tough for Lamar to fail in this spot, on FanDuel especially. If it was a tougher opponent, an opponent with some studs, sure. But again, who's going to threaten on the Dolphins to be the highest scoring player on this slate? Like maybe Brissett? I doubt it. Maybe Gaskin? I doubt it. Maybe Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki? I doubt it. The biggest competition comes on his own team, and it's his own receivers, Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. And again, if they're doing well, that means Lamar is also doing well. So on FanDuel, I think it's tough, but the best move is probably 100% Lamar Jackson MVP. Figure out the rest, get different elsewhere. So if we stick on FanDuel and we play Lamar, we know that if we play this popular in MVP, we're basically playing 4-on-4 now, right? Everyone else has Lamar in MVP. We're playing 4-on-4. So how do you get different? The key is leaving salary. With an MVP at 71, 72%, you have to leave 2,000 or more on the table, 3,000 or more on the table. You have to start using these guys at the bottom that no one's going to use. You know, Shaheen, Albert Wilson, Patrick Laird even. How lower can we go? Isaiah Ford. Nick Boyle obviously is a fantastic play if he's active. But you're going to have to use some of these guys down here. Hope that Lamar throws a touchdown to a rando, or one of these random Miami players just trip into the end zone. I'm not going to, I'll say it. It's on the stream, right? We've seen it a couple times before. I'll say it. Where is he? I'll say it if I can find him again. Tyler Huntley. Do we think about playing him? If the Ravens get up big in the fourth quarter, they're up 3 scores, they bring in Tyler Huntley, and you play him. I don't know. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. Let me know in the comments if you think it's crazy. But again, tons of values down here. I would do a minimum of 1, maybe a minimum of 2 of these guys in tournaments if I'm playing Lamar at MVP, right? You have to save salary. You have to get different. It's really difficult otherwise if you don't. Otherwise, you're going to be tying with 900 people for first place if you win. So, again, if you're playing one lineup, maybe that's okay. If you're playing 150 lineups, that's a much bigger story, much different story. Now, DraftKings, definitely easier, right? We get the extra roster spot. We have all these value guys at the bottom. I would say if you play Lamar, you want a minimum of 2 players under 20% ownership. Thankfully, our Occupy model and our lineup builder has projected ownership in it. You can use the custom rules to build that. I would leave at least $2,000 left in salary on the table. The only other option here is, and I think it's a little bit more reasonable on DraftKings, is because of the salary multiplier. Again, Lamar is 20,700. He'd have to put up a ridiculous game, and some of these studs would have to fail in order for him not to be the optimal captain. If some of these studs do well or they score close to Lamar, they could leapfrog him for the optimal captain. Honestly, if all the studs do really well and one of these value plays score, catch a couple passes, they could be the optimal captain to allow you to fit all those guys in there. So it's a difficult slate. Definitely more difficult on DraftKings. Definitely one where you want to lower your allocation. I'll leave you with this one final nugget. We do have 2 underperforming tight ends on our underperforming wide receiver list in Week 10. Kyle Pitts is one. Chris will talk about that in the wide receiver video, maybe. If not, it'll be in the daily plug. But Kyle Pitts is on the list for Sunday. Mark Andrews is the other one, and he's in tonight's game. So, what better way to fade a popular captain than playing an underperforming tight end? Mark Andrews, 13,200 in the captain spot, due for a huge game pretty soon. Why not tonight against the Miami Dolphins in a primetime showdown slate? So, a lot to digest. I know, talked about a lot here, a lot of different values. You got to check out our daily plug after you watch this video. It'll be posted by 3 p.m. Eastern on OccupyFantasy.com. The link is in the description below. Basically, what we do in the plug, we rank all the players on the slate for different contest types. Low risk, high risk, low own, high own, small field contest, high risk contest, all the rankings you need. And then specific lineup strategies on how to implement those plays to give you the best chance of winning each particular contest type. The daily plug at OccupyFantasy.com for showdown slates. The Thursday edition, again, it'll be posted by 3 p.m. Eastern today. Occupy model, we've already referenced, ranks every player, FanDuel, DraftKings with projected ownership using our proprietary formula. And then use our lineup builder. Build up to 150 lineups or hand build lineups using our optimal lineup criteria. All these links are in the description. Make sure you check them out. Final ask, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out tremendously if you're subscribed. Lets you know that more videos are on the way. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Any questions, comment, join our Discord server. Happy to help you out. So Brian Jester for Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening, and good luck tonight.